three ways to make a living in this business. Be first, be smarter, or cheat.
So, Tesla's 2018 announcement shook the entire world. Silicon carbide was the future of EVs. China's 5-year plan doubled down, declaring it as strategic material. For years, money have flooded into the industry. University pivoted, startup mushroomed, and silicon carbide expert materialized from thin air. But today, prices have crashed 60%. Companies are failing. Industry is littered with broken promises. So what went wrong? Now, for those who don't know, I'm Stanley, a multilingual Danish-born Chinese engineer with a degree in Master of Science Engineering. Over the past decade, I've dedicated myself to third-generation semiconductor industry, driven by relentless curiosity about the future of these technologies. My journey includes collaborating with the Nobel Prize laureate Professor Akasaki's research team and contributing to billion-dollar project at a Fortune 500 company. And here is what I've learned. Now let's talk about being first, the gold rush. The rule was simple: be first and move fast. With government subsidies flowing and institutional investment, all you needed was a PhD from a top university, a short stint at a Western silicon carbide firm, or just a convincing PowerPoint. Some bought off the shelf demo wafers, slapped on the logo, and secured funding. This isn't unique to silicon carbide. History shows the same pattern whenever government declares a technology strategic. From solar panels to lithium batteries, a gold rush of opportunities, a flood of easy money, followed by an inevitable crash when reality hits. But here's the reality: it can be extremely difficult to grow silicon carbide crystal. The challenge can be sky high. You need near perfect crystal, extreme purity, and very low dislocation density. Most experts had never grown a single boule. The market ignored this reality until it couldn't. And for the real pioneers in China, companies like 𝗥𝗵𝗏 or 𝗖𝗍𝗺, veterans who have endured a decade or more of R&D hell when no one cared about silicon carbide. And their reward? Watching newcomers raise billions for technology they hadn't even mastered. And then the reckoning, those who wanted to be smarter. So while the gold rush raged, another group thought they had a smarter strategy. Seasoned executives from established tech firms saw their chances. They jumped ship to launch a new silicon carbide venture in provinces eager to fund strategic projects. Their playbook seems brilliant at the time. They acquired second-hand equipment or copied existing, poached entire engineering team from competitors by doubling salaries, and recruited foreign experts. Not for that expertise, but for the credibility their resume brought to the press. On the surface, it looked like genius. Why build from scratch when you can buy someone else's furnace? Why spend years developing talent when you can hire it away? Investors ate it up. Here were experienced team with global technology, ready to deliver China's silicon carbide independence. Media cheered, investors piled in, and for that moment, it seems like they've cracked the code. Then, unfortunately, the COVID hit. Supply chain disintegrated, money dried up, investors demanded results, those foreign experts caught the first flight home, and under the harsh light of reality, the smart strategy revealed the fatal flaw. Second-hand equipment couldn't magically produce 8-inch wafers. Poached engineers without institutional knowledge of why processes worked struggled with dislocation density twice as high as industry standard. What looked like shortcuts became a dead end. So the bitter truth is, silicon carbide doesn't respect resumes or press clippings. Those who survived were the ones who played the system. They were the ones who invested years in understanding crystal growth physics, not just talent acquisition strategies. In the end, the market didn't care who you hire or where your equipment came from, only whether your wafers worked. Now finally, here's the third path, which is also the darkest one. When being first isn't possible, being smarter takes too long time, some turn to the oldest playbook in business, which is cheat. They fake the spec sheets, inflating the dislocation density by a factor, knowing full well their wafers would never meet the automotive standard. They played accounting games, counting the same batch of wafers across 3 different subsidies applications, but the boldest simply bought wafers from the competitors, scrub off the logos and stamp them as their own breakthroughs, selling innovation they didn't invent. But here's what they forgot. The automotive industry have zero tolerance for fraud. When BYD and Tesla demands high volume and low cost, when epitaxy and chip device firms audit your furnace logs and find they don't match your yield reports, the truth explodes into the open. And when it does, the consequences are brutal. Blacklisted suppliers. This isn't just a Silicon Carbide story. It's the inevitable ending of every subsidized gold rush. The dot-com bubble had its pets.com moment. The solar boom saw entire factories sold as operational while the equipment still had shipping tax. So the tragedy for every case like this, there's probably been 10 honest engineers whose reputation got tainted by association. The real innovator, the ones quietly improving the yield by 1% per quarter, the furnace designer tweaking the gas flow, found themselves drowning in a sea of skepticism. Because once the trust evaporates, it takes years to rebuild it. So, at the end of the day, here's the paradox. While politicians push for greener future with EVs and renewables, the reality for most grows darker. Wages stagnate, homes become unaffordable, the very technology meant to save the planet remains a luxury item. Unless green technology techs become truly affordable, the revolution remains incomplete. The Silicon Carbide boom was never a quick profit. It was a decade-long marathon. The winner respected the physics, invested in real R&D, and didn't count the chickens before they hatched. For the rest, there's always the next strategic material.